Hi there, everyone. Here's some of us heading your way tonight. Your news at 9. Going to hear from a wildlife expert on recent bear sightings in southeast Kansas. Plus, going to hear about a new statewide drug monitoring program in Missouri set to begin in August.
Some Democrats are going after one of their own, saying one man could be blocking the president's agenda. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have details straight ahead.
Nick Kelly has weather tonight. Jacob Leonard has sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox Forte.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Aubie. Detectives with the Vernon County, Missouri Sheriff's Office arrest a father and son in connection with a drive-by shooting. Joshua Lear and his son Chase Lear were arrested and charged for two incidents detectives believe are connected. Authorities say over Memorial Day weekend, Joshua Lear shot an arrow through a window of a Moundville home, broke other windows, also killed a horse. He's being charged with stalking, harassment, and property damage. Then on June 2nd, authorities say Chase Lear shot a gun from his car at a home in Nevada. He's being charged with unlawful use of a weapon, armed criminal action, and endangering the welfare of a child. Meteorologist Nick Kelly joining us now with the first look at the forecast. Someone really turned on that faucet early this afternoon.
Yeah, for a few lucky spots, Jordan, but it didn't really matter because everybody had quite a warm afternoon. After we started in the middle to upper 60s this morning, we topped that around 83 in Joplin with some rain skirting around the city at times, but not a whole lot to show right now on the radar network after we had an afternoon scattering of the usual scattered rain and thunderstorms. Thankfully, no severe weather with this complex passing well to our south, but with an upper low still on top of us, we'll see temperatures go from the lower to middle 70s now into the middle to upper 60s overnight. But I still think we could have a few thunderstorms overnight, Jordan, before we do it all over again tomorrow. We'll break down the rest of the forecast for you here in a bit.
Nick Kelly, thank you as always. Several senior centers in Southwest Missouri will fully open on July 12th. The Area Agency on Aging had shut down the centers because of the pandemic and recently reopened them with limited capacity and also those limited hours. Vaccinated visitors do not have to wear masks or social distance in the 7 locations, but unvaccinated visitors should still wear a mask at the centers, we're being told. The agency says if a center patron or staff member contracts COVID-19, however, the agency will close the affected center without notice. A new prescription drug monitoring program is going to start in Missouri on August 28th. Governor Mike Parsons signed the program into law today after it was passed by lawmakers earlier this spring. Missouri was the only state without a state-run program. The Missouri plan will only collect data on medications that are considered controlled substances like opioid painkillers and some anti-anxiety drugs. The data could not be provided to law enforcement and only could be used for medical treatments. The new program, again, goes into effect August 28th. The debate over the origins of COVID-19 is only getting hotter, and at the center of it all is Dr. Anthony Fauci. Fox News correspondent Mark Meredith has more from the White House.
As the debate over the origin of COVID-19 heats up, the White House has made it clear it stands behind Dr. Anthony Fauci. A growing number of Republicans are calling for Fauci to either step down or be fired, claiming he should have more strongly considered the possibility that the virus escaped a Chinese lab. The criticism has become more intense since the release of leaked emails between Fauci and researchers in Wuhan as the outbreak first started spreading.
We need to have an investigation, and time will tell whether he was just really bad at his job or whether there was some sort of criminal intent there.
But White House officials say they have no interest in dismissing Fauci. Instead, they're coming to his defense, pointing out that the lab leak theory was never ruled out. And the majority of scientists still believe COVID-19 was transmitted from animals to humans.
I can't put a percentage on it. I think there are two possible scenarios. One is the one you just described, that it emerged from the laboratory. The other is that it was naturally occurring.
Last month, President Biden ordered the intelligence community to review the data on COVID origins and report back to him within 90 days. The administration says it's also pushing the World Health Organization to open up a new investigation with or without China's cooperation.
If China will allow it, that's great. If they won't allow it, we need to have a parallel process.
That intelligence review remains ongoing, and President Biden says he hopes to release the findings of it publicly, although it's unclear when that may happen. At the White House, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
President Biden and his fellow Democrats have ambitious plans to pass an infrastructure package, a voting rights bill, plus police reform and other bills. But in a 50-50 Senate, they need unity. And moderates like Joe Manchin are making it clear they don't have it yet. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports now from Washington.
With the Senate split right down the middle, President Biden needs every single Democratic senator to back his legislation to get things through Congress. And for the most part, they're falling in line. Except for this guy. Moderate Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia is getting blowback from some fellow Democrats this week after announcing in a Sunday op-ed that he would not vote for their sweeping election reform bill or to end the filibuster.
It seems that he is relishing being the person to block Biden's agenda, and it is unclear why he relishes that.
The White House says they'll keep pushing to make voting rights a priority.
Clearly, Senator Manchin has stated his point of view in his opinion piece over the weekend. In terms of the path forward and what that looks like and the mechanics of how it moves forward in Congress, the president is quite open to and willing to work with anyone to enact common sense reforms that benefit the American people.
Manchin says any voting bill should be bipartisan. In fact, he thinks any important legislation should have support from both sides.
I think it's the wrong piece of legislation to bring our country together and unite our country, and I'm not supporting that because I think it would divide us further.
Some Republicans are praising Manchin, saying his stance may force Democrats to work with the GOP.
When Joe Biden promised that he was going to unite and work with everybody, he's out there undermining people on his own side because Joe Manchin says he wants to help President Biden fulfill his promise of working with people.
Bigger picture, without Manchin, President Biden's entire domestic agenda could be stalled, from infrastructure to gun control. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor one of our four-state heroes. Seth Volz joined the U.S. Army back in 2002. Native of Galesburg, Kansas, Volz was stationed in Iraq. And we are proud to thank and salute Specialist First Class Seth Volz. He's tonight's four-state hero. Nick is next with a complete look at the forecast. A bit later, passing of the torch for Pitt State track and field. We're going to have the story in sports.
Book now at united.com.
We were able to warm up once again despite another scattering of afternoon rain and thunderstorms. And if you got stuck underneath one of those, it was another good soaking, with moderate to heavy rainfall being the worst that rain chances could do. We kept things pretty quiet overall, though, from Indigo Sky's perspective. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort giving us that nice time lapse outside of Seneca, Missouri. Again, most of us were quiet to start the morning out, but if you were trying to come out of Tulsa this morning, they just got hammered with a lot of heavy rain, pushing rain amounts between 5 and 10 inches, while our rain amounts paled in comparison by quite a bit. Area-wide, maybe 0.2 of an inch if you were lucky to get underneath one of these rain chances today. But if you did, heavier pockets try to push rain amounts between 0.5 an inch and 2 inches before that rain either fizzled apart or slowly drifted along toward the north once again. Even though we're seeing a bit of a lull in the action, you can still see maybe a random speck or two of a shower across southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma. As long as our upper low is still around, I think it might try to pull a trick up its sleeve and bring in a few more random showers and storms overnight before we see the better chances roll back in tomorrow afternoon. For the time being, though, we're quiet in Joplin, 74 degrees, southeast breeze is 6, and the humidity almost pushing 80%. Most of us mild, if not a bit warm still, from 70 in Monad to 76 in Chanute, 77 in Yates Center, mainly mid-70s around the Joplin area. And we'll slowly drop back into the middle to upper 60s as we continue with partly to mostly cloudy skies and waiting to see if we can get some overnight isolated showers and storms. But we didn't have to deal with this batch, this QLCS, with a lot of severe weather along the Arkansas-Louisiana border. It wasn't triggered by anything at the surface, really. We just still have this area of high pressure well in the Carolinas, but again, the clockwise flow around it keeps on bringing in Gulf moisture from the south, but it's upstairs that's driving our rain chances. This stubborn upper level low slowly drifting across the state of Missouri, and once that finally decides to move along throughout the course of the week, the upper ridge will really take over, especially with temperatures. Going through the overnight, here's 3 a.m. The future track trying to suggest a few isolated showers or storms could try to pop up. Otherwise, most spots Tuesday morning, dry to start the morning drive. But as we go into the afternoon, wait for it, some scattered, widely scattered showers and thunderstorms again, kind of like the past few days where we had pretty much a better threat of moderate to heavy rainfall compared to any real severe weather. Don't know why the planner isn't working, but we will top out around 83 tomorrow. We'll drop back near 70 for your Wednesday morning and then push into the, let's say, mid 80s. With another chance for scattered afternoon storms on Wednesday. Thankfully, Jordan, the rain chances do taper off as we get closer to the weekend, but as the rain chances go down, the thermometer has to go up. 89 Thursday, near 90 Friday and Saturday, maybe topping 91 on Sunday.
Yeah, there are those 90s. It's time, huh?
Held off for so long, but they're bound to come back.
Nick Kelly, we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you so much. Coming up, the first foreign trip for the vice president.
Migration topped the agenda for Vice President Kamala Harris's trip to Guatemala. I'm Mallory Rivera in Washington with the details on the proposed solutions next.
U.S. has recovered millions of dollars paid in ransom to the Colonial Pipeline hackers. People briefed on the matter say the operation was led by the FBI in cooperation with Colonial Pipeline. The company's chief executive says it paid more than $4 million in the ransom demand, but it took steps to help investigators track the payment to a cryptocurrency wallet used by the hackers. Vice President Kamala Harris met with the president of Guatemala Monday to discuss the root causes of migration as the Biden administration tackles a surge of migrants at the southern border. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera is in D.C. with more details on this meeting.
In her first foreign trip as vice president, Kamala Harris told Guatemalan President Alejandro Giammattei they have the same priorities when it comes to stemming the flow of migrants at the U.S. southern border.
The president and I discussed a fundamental belief that most people don't want to leave home.
The vice president is highlighting several economic and humanitarian initiatives to keep people from leaving. These include working with the private sector to increase investments in Guatemala and launching a task force to combat human smuggling and corruption in Central America.
One of the items is to create sources of employment so migrants don't leave if they can't find a job, because I'm sure that if they had opportunities, many Central Americans would stay in their country.
But questions remain as to how to ensure help reaches those who need it most. President Giammattei has faced criticism over corruption within his own government, despite his insistence that his country is ready to serve as a reliable partner to the U.S.
We believe that we can start a very simple process to allow people to migrate regularly to the United States.
Many Republicans also say it's the Biden administration that's to blame for the surge in migrants, calling its policies weak.
It starts with this president and it starts with the vice president. They need to reverse their policies immediately.
Vice President Harris will head to Mexico on Tuesday, where she is expected to meet with female entrepreneurs and participate in a labor roundtable before heading back to D.C. In Washington, Mallory Rivera, Fox News.
Just ahead, arrests made after a road rage death.
2 are behind bars in connection with the deadly road rage shooting of a 6-year-old California boy. I'm William LaJeunesse in Los Angeles. Details coming up.
The Westminster Outlaw Nationals, June 18th and 19th.
A huge break in the death investigation of 6-year-old road rage victim Aiden Leos. After more than 2 weeks of searching, authorities in Southern California have made 2 arrests in this case. Fox News national correspondent William LaJeunesse is in Los Angeles with this story.
A sigh of relief in Southern California after the arrest of 2 in connection with last month's road rage shooting of 6-year-old Aiden Leos.
Justice for that child and for that mom.
California Highway Patrol arrested the alleged shooter, 24-year-old Marcus Ariz, and his girlfriend, 23-year-old Win Lee, at their home not far from the shooting, bringing the nearly 3-week manhunt to a close.
And in Orange County, we protect our crime victims, and we do not stop until we solve our cases.
Investigators used license plate technology and information from tips stemming from a $500,000 reward to track down the suspects. They also recovered a bullet matching a weapon police saw Ariz using on social media. The road rage incident happened on a California freeway on May 21st. Aiden's mother was taking him to kindergarten as she tried to get out of the carpool lane. She was cut off by a white Volkswagen. She admittedly responded with an obscene gesture. And that's when authorities say the male passenger allegedly fired a shot in the back of her car, fatally striking Aiden, who was sitting in a booster seat. On Saturday, Aiden's family lovingly remembered him at a memorial service.
From the very first day I looked at our newborn, beautiful boy, I felt such a warm tenderness exude from within Aiden. He was the sweetest baby.
A day later, those allegedly responsible for his death were behind bars. Now, the suspects are expected to be charged with murder. They are scheduled to appear in court on Tuesday. In Los Angeles, William LaJeunesse, Fox News.
All right, another reminder that sometimes heroes can come in all shapes and sizes, including that guy right there. Why this rat deserves an upcoming official retirement.
Warney.
A hero animal who has sniffed out landmines in Cambodia over the past 5 years is taking a good retirement, some time off. Magawa, listen to this, the African giant pouched rat has found 71 landmines and 38 other kinds of bombs in his career. This brave little guy has cleared the equivalent of 56 acres of land, making it safe again after years of warfare in Cambodia. Look at that, a little guy right there doing his thing. His handlers could tell Magawa was slowing down a little bit, so he's been taken off the dangerous duty to enjoy his golden years. Magawa is saying, listen guys, I know I'm a rat, okay? I know I'm a rat, but I could really use some quality time at the beach. No landmines, just a cold margarita. That's what he's saying, trust me. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Joplin City Council meets to discuss their COVID-19 response, among other things. Going to break it all down. Also going to see how some kids learn that fitness and sports can be played well into adulthood.
Hungry for something hot and...
Joplin City Council met tonight to discuss a number of things, including sewer bonds, Phase 4, the COVID-19 response plan, and parking for Memorial Hall. KOAM's Chris Warner was at tonight's meeting, and Chris joins us live in our Joplin newsroom now with more. Chris.
Well, Jordan, at tonight's meeting, one of the first things discussed was Phase 4 of the COVID-19 response plan. City Manager Nick Edwards says entering Phase 4 doesn't really change anything about how the city is currently operating. Now, right now, there are no restrictions active in Joplin, and Phase 4 only provides guidance on monitoring the COVID situation and how the health department should prepare going forward should there be a spike in cases or another pandemic in the future.
Yeah, so Phase 4 is an important step for us. It requires us to look forward and be ready for the next pandemic, so that's certainly a step that we don't want to skip. There's a lot of lessons that we've learned throughout this process, and it's important that we document those and prepare for the next one.
Now, at tonight's meeting, they did not move into Phase 4 at this time. Also tonight, though, Council had an ordinance on first reading dealing with parking for Memorial Hall. The ordinance had 2 memorandums of understanding between the city and the Joplin School District for the purchase of parking directly behind Memorial Hall, which is currently owned by the district, as well as the use of nearby district parking at the Memorial Education Center as overflow parking.
There's still the opportunity to maybe do parking along Joplin and Wall Avenues. This was just step one, and I think even if this is the only thing that we do in parking, I think it'll be a great thing for Memorial Hall and also the Connect Culture.
Now, the ordinance passed on first reading, which means it will come up again for second and third before final approval at a future meeting. The ordinance also had a contingency saying it would only be in effect if voters approve the bonds to renovate Memorial Hall in the April 2022 elections. The council also discussed refinancing $24 million in sewer bonds. Now, while that may seem like a lot, Edwards says it's not dissimilar from refinancing your home. The city has the opportunity to refinance sewer bonds issued between 2010 and 2014 at a much lower interest rate.
That will save the city about $1.2 million and provide us a lot of flexibility with a very important service that's provided.
Now, the ordinance to refinance the bonds was passed on an emergency basis tonight. Reporting live in the newsroom, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Chris, thank you so much as always. A Wednesday funeral service is planned for a retired Joplin fire chief who died last week. William Harry Gwynn had been with the Joplin Fire Department for 42 years, including 15 years as chief prior to his retirement in 1995. He was also active in many civic organizations. Gwynn was 90 years old. Sports are an important part of many kids' lives, right? But not all sports can be played as we get older. Also right? Well, today some area kiddos learned about activities that they can do well into adulthood. Missouri Southern hosted the Children's Lifetime Sports Academy. Some of the activities they learned about are martial arts, frisbee, also fishing.
What we've seen through the years as the one sport theory went through was they're burnt out. By the time they get to high school or college, it's no longer fun. It's lost the enjoyment factor, and they have no other route, so to speak, many times for their physical activity. So again, it's about physical activity. It's not always about sport and competition.
This is the 25th year the camp has been held. Missouri Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development is hosting a virtual job fair tomorrow featuring employers from all over the Show Me State. The Return Strong virtual job fair is going to focus on remote and part-time jobs. The fair will run from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We have a link to job fairs website on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Federal regulators approved the first Alzheimer's drug in nearly 2 decades. The FDA says the drug, aducanumab, targets the underlying cause of Alzheimer's, the most common form of dementia, rather than its symptoms. The drug maker Biogen says studies found the treatment slowed cognitive decline in Alzheimer's patients, but warnings from independent advisors claim the controversial treatment hasn't been shown to help slow the brain-destroying disease. The FDA is requiring Biogen to conduct a follow-up study to confirm the drug's benefits for patients. The new Alzheimer's drug is given as an infusion every 4 weeks. Country's vaccination rate is slowing down as some unvaccinated adults are waiting for full FDA approval of the vaccine. This comes as public health officials urge younger people to get those shots. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seary has more.
More than 300 million COVID-19 shots have now been administered in the U.S., and life is returning back to normal in many parts of the country. Today, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo announced all COVID-19 restrictions will be lifted after 70% of adults in the state receive at least one dose of a vaccine.
We're at 68.6, almost there. This is in horseshoes. We're going to be at 70%.
But nationwide, the country's vaccination rate has slowed to less than 1 million shots per day, declining more than 60% since April. Public health officials say vaccinations are lagging the most across the South and Midwest. A Kaiser Family Foundation report finds nearly 1/3 of unvaccinated adults are waiting for full FDA approval before getting their shot.
Just because someone is hesitant to get vaccinated doesn't mean they're anti-vax. It just means they really want to make sure it goes through the right checks and balances.
Public health officials are now shifting focus to getting more children vaccinated after a CDC study found rising hospitalization rates among Americans ages 12 through 17. FDA advisors are scheduled to meet this week to discuss the vaccine's safety in children 11 or younger.
When I think about the vaccine and recommending the vaccine, I'm thinking about it for all of us. I'm thinking about it for my patients, but I'm also thinking about it for my kids.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says he's optimistic all children will be eligible for a vaccine by the end of this year. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seary, Fox News.
I'll be later going to meet the newest member of an ex-royal family. I guess that's the term now to use. Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor.
From tonight at 11, right here on Fox 14.
It's another familiar early June day where we started out quiet during the morning, then once the warmth and the humidity started to rise during the afternoon, it's no surprise we had some scattered rain and widely scattered thunderstorms, especially dumping quite a bit of moderate to heavy rainfall across parts of the area. For the most part, the time-lapse Indigo Sky Casino and Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri looked mainly dry, but if we take it to the Skywatch storm tracker, we did have some afternoon scattered rain and a couple of thunderstorms, but nothing compared to what Tulsa had to deal with this morning. Overnight showers exploded on top of the Tulsa metro, leaving them and with anywhere from 5 to 10 inches of rain. Our amounts paled so much in comparison to that. 0.2 of an inch on the average, but the heavier pockets of rain, if you got caught underneath one of those heavier showers or thunderstorms, pushing 0.5 inch to almost 2 inches of rainfall just for today alone. The rain showers that we had to start the evening out, they've mainly fallen apart. There's still one lone little guy close to, let's say, northeast of Yates Center, and maybe a few little showers trying to skirt along the turnpike close to Veneta in Craig County. I still want to hold on to a few isolated showers and storms overnight because we don't have enough warm air aloft, so it wouldn't surprise me if the moisture that we have still in place with temperatures still near 74, this could result in a few isolated showers or storms overnight, but nothing too crazy expected. Southeast wind at 6 at Joplin with the humidity almost at 80%. We're at 70 in Milnet. Compare that to 76 in Chanute, so everyone's mainly lower to middle 70s as we get closer to the top of the 10 o'clock hour. While we may have to keep an eye on a few isolated showers or storms overnight, at least we didn't have to deal with any severe weather with that complex of storms falling apart as it continues across northern parts of Mississippi. At the surface, doesn't seem like anything would suggest that storm to develop, but surface high pressure over the Carolinas, keeping that Gulf moisture working in from south to north, but it's the upper levels, this stubborn upper level low over the state of Missouri. It's going to continue to slowly crawl along over the next few days, so as long as it's still around for tonight, can't rule out a few isolated showers, maybe a random thunderstorm, but most of us are dry tomorrow morning with lows dropping back into the mid-60s. Fast forward to Tuesday afternoon, we may be quiet to start, but we'll watch for some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms again, with heavy rain being the bigger threats here. 67 in the morning, 78 by noon, and despite the rain chances sticking around, I still think we can get afternoon highs to about 83 degrees. 80s again Wednesday with some scattered storms still possible with this upper low finally getting the hint and starting to move along the edge of the ridge. But as our rain chances taper off, this upper level ridge really takes hold, and you can see how it wants to send some either late spring or early summer heat our way as our rain chances continue to drop throughout the rest of the week. So we go from 83 tomorrow, 86 Wednesday, 89 Thursday, then pushing 90. Hate saying that for the first time this part of June, Jordan, but Sunday could be hot and humid with highs near 91.
We've been getting nice cool downs at night, but soon even the nighttime will be humid and warm and all that summery stuff.
Yeah, we can only hold summer back for so long.
We can. All right, Nick Kelly. Well, that's good and bad. I like summer too, except the hotness. All right, Nick Kelly, thank you so much. You know, bear sightings are becoming more prevalent in southeast Kansas. Although it's unusual to see these animals in the area, experts say it's something to start getting used to. They say it's partially because of proximity to the surrounding states with growing bear populations. States like Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma. One wildlife biologist says because bear sightings could become normal for the area, it's important to know how to keep them away.
The number one thing you can do is try to eliminate food sources for those bears, because that's where most of the problems come from with bears is human food sources, and that can come from barbecue grills. Keep your grills clean and locked up.
Pet food and birdseed can also attract those bears. Over in Webb City, this camp tapped into the creative side of kids in the 4 states. This drawing camp, hosted by Creative Originals by Roxine, teaches campgoers how to draw still life bears, a lighthouse, a sunflower, and a sloth.
So what I try to do is just let them know that they can do it. So we have a little oath that we say before we start is, I will be positive, I will not compare my work, and I'm here just to have fun.
Fun is always good. Participants paid an $80 fee that covered a sketching kit. All right, coming up in sports, Pitt State Track and Field has a new head coach, plus the Joplin Outlaws aiming for a 4th straight win to kick off this summer. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Proudly support.
The Joplin Outlaws are off to a hot start this summer. The Outlaws are 3-0 in their first 3 games, including a 5-1 win over the St. Joe Mustangs Sunday night. Now tonight, Joplin wraps up its quick 2-game set with the Mustangs at Joe Becker Stadium. A first inning, one on for Jackson Himmel. Big time drive here, up and out to left. 2-run shot puts the Outlaws down early. Just 2 pitches into the bottom half though, Logan Klein back up the middle. That scores 1 to get Joplin within 1. Still in the first, second, and third for Brett Wiemers. Pittsburgh High School product comes up with a 2-run double. Outlaws have their first lead at 3-2. They would go back down 7-3. Here in the fifth, though, Ethan Ellis hammers one deep off the fence to score one. He's in there for a double. This one actually still going. Outlaws trail 7-5 in the bottom of the 8th. In the major leagues, the Royals kick off a 3-game series with the Angels tonight. This one on the West Coast, so off to a late start. Plenty of scoring early, but the Royals are down 4-2 right now in the bottom of the 3rd. Well, Pittsburgh State Track and Field has a new head coach. After Russ Jewett's retirement on Friday, the school has named Kyle Rutledge the next leader of the program. Now, we caught up with both men today to talk about passing and receiving the torch as the leader of the Pitt State Track and Field program. Russ Jewett is calling it a career as a head coach at Pittsburgh State.
I wanted to leave coaching when I was still effective, and I think I've been pretty effective still recently, and yet I just feel like it's time to turn things over to others that are going to continue this tradition and maybe even take it to new heights.
Kyle Rutledge has been named Jewett's successor. In 9 seasons as an assistant, Rutledge has learned a thing or two from the 46th-time MIAA Coach of the Year.
That's a long list, but definitely how he leads a program, how he treats people, and just how he has passion. I mean, it's undeniable how much he cares about the student athletes and the well-being, and just the passion he has for this university and community.
His competitive intensity is at the top of the list, but it's not the most important thing. He has the welfare of the student athlete in mind when he approaches his coaching philosophy. He's very much a team builder, and that's very important to us in our program.
Rutledge knows he has big shoes to fill after Jewett led the Gorillas to 50 conference championships and 2 national titles.
Our number one expectation is to honor our tradition year in and year out, and we have great people around it, and just to make sure that we're doing things the right way. I mean, winning is always at the top of the list, but we want to make sure we're teaching these athletes how to become better people and to honor our tradition and Pittsburgh State the right way.
In the moment, you're wanting to win championships and develop character, and then you want to leave something for the folks that come after you. And he's bought into that completely and made that stronger here, and that's near and dear to my heart.
But Rutledge says this is a dream job, and he's here to continue that tradition for a long time.
When I arrived here 9 years ago, it was a phenomenal opportunity, and then I just grew in love with the school and the community, and so yeah, it became a dream. It was a relief that me and my family feel at home here. We love it here, we love the community, and being close to home, it was more of a sign of relief that we're going to be here for the long haul.
In addition to naming Rutledge head coach today, PSU has promoted Brian Mantooth from assistant coach to associate head coach, and Ben Barrows from part-time assistant to full-time assistant. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle celebrating big news. The ex-royals and their oldest child, Archie, are now saying hello to their newest family member. Fox News' Chris DeMeo has more on the birth of their daughter and how community members around their California neighborhood are handling this news.
We're a royal baby here in town. Yeah, it's so cool. We couldn't be prouder.
It's official. Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan Markle have welcomed a new addition to their family, announcing Sunday the birth of their second child, a daughter, Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, who will go by the name Lily. The baby was born Friday morning at this hospital in Santa Barbara, California, weighing 7 pounds 11 ounces. Both mom and baby are doing well, and neighbors of the royal couple are excited about the news.
I think it's amazing that we have another royal in the area, and yeah, I think it's a very good place. The quality of life here is amazing.
Others are hoping the couple can remain out of the limelight if they wish.
We're pretty low-key about it. We just want them to have their privacy.
Meanwhile, experts are highlighting the significance behind Lilibet's name. The first honors her great-grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, whose family nickname is Lilibet, while her middle name is a tribute to Prince Harry's late mother, Princess Diana. And according to Twitter, the Queen couldn't be happier, with the official royal family Twitter account congratulating Harry and Meghan while acknowledging the birth of Queen Elizabeth's 11th great-grandchild. Harry's brother and sister-in-law, Prince William and Duchess Kate, also sending well wishes, as British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and a long line of celebrities, including comedian Ellen DeGeneres, chimed in on Twitter. Prince Harry and Meghan are now taking time to rest, releasing a statement thanking everyone for their kindness and support. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Gonna check out some new and classic movie sets now available on those DVDs, also on demand when we come back. DVD and music releases this week include a romantic comedy, a crime thriller, a film composer, and more. Here's Fox's Ashton working with a list of new releases.
You are unbelievable.
Topping the list of what's new in home entertainment, the romantic comedy The Lovebirds starring Issa Rae and Kumail Nanjiani. They play a couple framed for a murder and try to clear their names by solving the mystery themselves.
Why is this case so important to you?
The crime thriller City of Lies features Johnny Depp and Forrest Whitaker as detectives investigating the 1997 murders of rap stars Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G.
Had to see it for myself.
James Franco wrote, directed, and stars in Zeroville, a comedy drama about an excommunicated seminarian who follows his movie obsession to Hollywood in 1969. The star-studded cast includes Megan Fox, Seth Rogen, Danny McBride, and Craig Robinson.
We got to try to remember what happened to her.
Dylan O'Brien is a 30-year-old man haunted by visions of a high school classmate who mysteriously disappeared in the mind-bending thriller Flashback.
I'd like to report some suspicious activity.
Sean Patrick Flannery takes on a building of armed terrorists in the action thriller Assault on VA 33.
Cameron Dave, get dressed and come on over.
The 1986 comedy Ferris Bueller's Day Off celebrates its 35th anniversary with a limited edition Blu-ray Steelbook release. The Indiana Jones 4-movie collection is available in a new 4K Ultra HD set for the first time and includes a collectible booklet with behind-the-scenes images from each film. I have a baby! From TV to DVD, Fuller House, the 5th and final season, and Fuller House, the complete series.
I've been making like 2,000 a minute.
For music fans, rapper Polo G drops his third album, Hall of Fame. Singer-songwriter and film composer Danny Elfman releases Big Mess, his first solo album in 37 years. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Well, there are some pretty cool graphics. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Going to leave you with video of new wolf cubs at a Mexico zoo. One tired mommy right there. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.